Hey football fans, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of the hottest debates in college football right now. Did Alabama deserve a spot in the national championship? Former Crimson Tide star and current Ravens cornerback Marlon Humphrey sparked some serious discussion when he boldly claimed on social media that Alabama should be playing for the title. With Ohio State and Notre Dame set to square off for the trophy, Alabama fans, and even some players, are still struggling to accept being left out of the 12-team college football playoff field. So, was Humphrey right? Let's break it all down, from Alabama's season to the playoff structure and whether the Tide really got robbed. Let's go! Let's start with Marlon Humphrey's comments. Humphrey, a former Crimson Tide standout and current Baltimore Ravens cornerback, didn't hold back on social media. Just hours before the national championship game, he tweeted, "Now, for those who don't know, Humphrey has deep ties to Alabama. He was part of that dominant 2015 team that won it all, and like many Tide alumni, he's extremely passionate about the program. But is his claim justified? Alabama finished the regular season with a 9-3 record and was ranked number 1, 11th in the final CFP rankings. They were the first team left out of the 12-team playoff, while Arizona State and Clemson, both ranked behind them, secured spots as conference champions." Humphrey's frustration, and that of many Alabama fans, stems from this perceived injustice. So let's unpack this step by step. Alright, let's talk about Alabama's season. The Crimson Tide entered 2024 with sky-high expectations, as usual, but a 9-3 finish marked their third straight season missing out on the national championship game. So, what went wrong? First, the positives. Alabama notched some impressive wins, including dominating performances against LSU and Texas A&M. Their offense, led by quarterback Jalen Milroe, showed flashes of brilliance, and their defense was solid for much of the season, but the losses told a different story. The Tide fell to Vanderbilt and Oklahoma in the regular season, both of which were considered major upsets. And then came the ReliaQuest Bowl, where Alabama lost to Michigan in a game that could have boosted their resume. If they'd won even one of those regular season losses, we might not even be having this conversation. At the end of the day, 9-3 just wasn't enough in a system where every game matters. But was that record enough to keep them out of the playoffs entirely? That's where things get tricky. Now, let's look at the bigger picture, the college football playoff structure. This year marked the first time we had a 12-team playoff, which was supposed to give more teams a shot at the title, but Alabama found itself as the first team left out, watching Arizona State and Clemson, both ranked behind them, get in instead. How did this happen? It all comes down to conference championships. Clemson, despite having 3 losses like Alabama, earned an automatic bid by winning the ACC. The same goes for Arizona State, which took home the Pac-Share Guanjun. Meanwhile, Alabama didn't even win their division in the SEC, let alone the conference. This is where the controversy lies. Alabama fans point to the early exits of teams like SMU and Indiana in the first round of the playoffs as evidence that the Tide would have been a better choice. And honestly, they have a point. Clemson was the only 3-loss team in the field, and their inclusion over Alabama sparked plenty of debate. Alabama fans were not shy about voicing their opinions. Social media was flooded with posts claiming the Tide got robbed. Some pointed to Alabama's history of dominance as a reason they should have been given the benefit of the doubt. After all, this is a program that played in 6 of the past 7 national championship games before their recent drought, but not everyone agrees. Critics argue that Alabama had their chance and didn't take care of business. Losses to Vanderbilt and Oklahoma were seen as inexcusable for a team with championship aspirations. As one analyst put it, if you want to be in the conversation, you can't lose to Vanderbilt, period. Let's take a step back and look at Alabama's legacy. Under Nick Saban, the Crimson Tide has been the gold standard in college football. 6 national championships in a span of 14 years is a level of dominance we may never see again. But the past 3 seasons have been a different story. Alabama has missed the national championship game 3 years in a row, a streak that feels unprecedented for a program of this caliber. Does this mean the dynasty is over, or is this just a temporary slump? Marlon Humphrey's comments suggest that Alabama's talent and tradition still make them one of the top programs in the country. But in today's college football landscape, reputation alone isn't enough. So, was Marlon Humphrey right? Should Alabama have been playing in the national championship? The answer, as always, depends on who you ask. On one hand, Alabama's resume didn't stack up this year. 3 losses, including a bowl game defeat to Michigan, made it hard to argue they were one of the top 4 teams. On the other hand, their talent, history, and the early exits of teams like SMU and Indiana suggest they might have made a deeper run than some of the teams that got in. In the end, this debate speaks to the passion and expectations surrounding Alabama football. For the Tide, anything less than a championship feels like a disappointment, and while they may not be playing for the title this year, don't count them out in the future. Alright, that's it for today's video. Now it's your turn. Do you agree with Marlon Humphrey? Should Alabama have been in the national championship, or did the committee get it right? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.